How's it going, everyone? Welcome to Conti and Nick. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. The first time they go offense, they take Jordan Love? They take Jordan Love!
Listen, Matisse Thybulle will lock up
Matisse
CP3.
Oh my god.
Chris Paul.
Oh my god.
Chris Paul, baby. Right, Will?
Nope, I totally disagree. Look.
Johnny, bro. Johnny, bro. Johnny, bro.
It's a very special episode, baby. It's a special day.
Johnny, bro. Johnny, bro.
It's a special day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back, first of all, to Conti and Nick, episode 41. And today is monumental because if you know, we end every episode by saying John Bro. He's a good friend of ours.
Runjo, as Mr. Conti calls him.
Of course. And it's his birthday today. It's John Bro's birthday, so big shout out to John Bro. You know, he's an important man to the podcast.
He has not appeared in one.
He hasn't appeared in one.
And I will say there is one small, slight little audio clip of John Bro on this podcast.
There's one where he's in the background. He goes,
exactly. No. It was that, but I don't know if you remember when. Well, obviously you remember. But when Brady was like, "Oh, top 25 all time," and D'Lo screamed, "You just changed it," or something like that, and then you kind of just hear John Bro in the background, just geeking out in the background.
That's the only clip we have of John Bro.
That's the only like video or audio evidence of John Bro on Conti, and
that's it.
Except our voices and except our outros, but
exactly.
So, what are some of your John Bro favorite moments? Just real quick, just before we know.
Oh yeah. Well, first of all, I will say.
Well, of course,
yeah.
Okay.
From if you follow Gino on Instagram, you saw that we have a list of John Bro quotes because he just be saying stuff and he's hilarious. And my favorite one I think was I was there for. We were pulling into, I believe it was Wendy's to get chicken sandwiches, and we were like, all right, John Bro, crispy chicken sandwiches, because we already messed it up before, where you just asked for chicken sandwiches, and they gave us grilled, because we were doing like a chicken sandwich thing or whatever, and we pull in, and John Bro goes, can I get a grilled crispy chicken sandwich? We're like, what? Like, what do you mean? That's my favorite.
And then what was like he pulls up into the Wendy's drive-thru, and he's just like, oh, can I please get a McChicken? Ah, fuck! Like,
I think that was the first one.
Just
we got two John Bro quotes in like 5 minutes. It was amazing.
And you know what? Like, you hang out with John Bro enough, they come quite frequently.
They do.
But 2 within 5 minutes.
That's elite. Like,
I will say so. Underrated John Bro moment that I really haven't talked about in a long time, okay? John Bro's sleeping over my house, right?
Yeah.
And it's about 3 a.m. we're playing video games, and he goes, wanna make eggs? And I'm like, all right, sure. Like, oh, screw it. I'll make eggs, whatever. So we make our eggs, but boy, he was not done. This motherfucker goes into our egg tray and just starts smashing eggs off the floor and just starts geeking out. He's like, Gino, he has the thing in his hands, takes an egg and just smashes it off the ground. I'm like, what are you doing? And here I am trying to scream, not wake up my parents who are upstairs and are very light sleepers, and my sister, okay? And I'm like, John, clean up the fucking floor right now! Clean up the floor! And here he is just like, in like his own very John Bro way. I'm like, oh my god.
I do love John Bro, but
who doesn't?
Yeah, a special shout out to John Bro today. It's his big day. It's his 21st, which is terrifying.
Oh yeah. You know,
it's bad.
At this point, whatever he's legal for, he's probably sick of it.
that's what like the fact that John Bro is like a full grown adult and has like no like holds on him anymore for what he can and can't do terrifies me.
Please
whatever.
Lock your doors.
Yeah, exactly.
And your windows. Close the shades. Everything.
Whatever you can do
for home security. Do that.
Exactly.
And your car. And your car.
Especially your car.
Yeah.
But we are here to talk some sports today. Believe it or not.
Damn it.
I know. I wish it was all John Bro.
There could be a John Bro episode.
It could be.
Be real. Could we do like an hour-long episode on John Bro?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Like it would be so. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
It would be
like,
so
with
easy.
him not even being here.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. We could. But we're starting part 1 of a part 2 series today.
First ever part 2 series.
Yeah,
or 2-part series. I'm excited, man.
I'm excited too. We're talking some NFL free agency. And this is the first group of guys, and I believe the part 2 we're just doing a new group of guys.
Yeah. So essentially, like we have our list right here, and And we tried to make it so it would kind of be even between the two, because there are some big names off this list, or that have been left off of this one particular list here. They're going to be like, oh, where's Devontae Adams? Where's Tyrann Mathieu? Where's this guy? It's coming. It's coming.
This is like a little we got some decently big names here.
Yeah. So
I'd say that this is like the above average to mid tier guys. And then obviously we're gonna get into the Devontae Adams probably next time.
Yeah.
But this is solid, I think, because I do really want to talk about a lot of these guys.
Yeah. So absolutely. And then I don't know. I'm freaking excited, man. So
I'm excited.
You ready?
Yeah. Who do you want to go top from bottom?
So I got Chris Godwin first.
Yeah.
I got Chris Godwin first. So what do you think about Chris Godwin and in terms of where his best fits are and where he could go if it's not in Tampa Bay?
So Chris Godwin, obviously coming off an ACL in week 13, 14, something like that. Late in the season, he's going to be back fully for the next season. He might miss a couple of games, but he should be pretty healthy.
Yeah.
I mean, we remember Dom talking about how fast guys come back from injury, so that could be the case with Godwin where he's ready for the season.
Oh, I'm sorry, real quick. NFL free agency starts March 16th.
Okay.
So today's the second. We quite literally are 2 weeks away.
Okay.
And then honestly, so we'll have, here we go, part 1, part 2 next week, and then what's going to happen? Next episode, 2 episodes
reaction.
from now, is reaction. See how it's constructed?
God,
meticulous mindset, baby.
So easy.
Meticulous mindset, baby.
Look at us going crazy. Yeah. No, but Godwin, very, very talented player. He's a slot guy. He was the slot guy for Brady. Great hands. I mean, there's a lot you can say about Godwin. I mean, I think he realistically, any teams he goes to, he instantly makes that receiving core better. I think we saw a little bit in the postseason, Brady actually missing guys like Godwin. He has always Evans to go deep, and he's got Gronk, but I mean, not having that slot guy. I mean, Brady loves the slot guys. He's had Welker, he's had Edelman. And look, my best fit for someone like him, honestly, and I'm not even trying to be a homer, it would be the Patriots. It would be the Patriots, would it not? I think the Patriots would be good. I also think a team like maybe Miami, who really didn't have that great of a receiving core this year, and maybe pair someone else with I'm blanking on his name. I don't know why. Jalen Waddle.
Parker?
No, he just got drafted. Yeah. So to pair him with that, I think that would be a great fit. There's a couple other good fits out there. If he wants to go to Washington, the Commanders, they need
be so weird.
They need a quarterback.
I had to get used from, don't cancel me please, from Redskins to football team, and now I'm gonna have to get used from football team to Commanders. So I'm like, damn man, come on.
It's hard, but I think it's easier than calling them the football team. It was hard for me to go from that to football team.
Yeah.
But I think this transition will be easier.
Not as good as the Marshfield basketball team.
Not as good. Great name. But. Yeah, whatever team he goes to, maybe Indianapolis. Those are like my top. New England, Commanders, Indianapolis, and maybe Miami. But
oh my God,
who knows?
Cam Tate goes, I forgot to not hang out with Jake today.
That's another classic one too.
It is.
Love that.
But anyway, so what I have for Chris Godwin, and actually I wouldn't say there's been rumblings about it, but I have done a little bit of watching videos of because I'm curious, it's exciting.
It is
like free agency is exciting. A lot of people are saying Cleveland Browns for Chris Godwin.
That's not
and
bad.
Honestly, I like that, and I agree with it.
Bad.
Okay, so if he doesn't go back to Tampa, which I believe at my heart he will.
I forgot to mention that. It's very likely he stays in Tampa. I think he wants a bag out of
exactly. So I think that if Chris Godwin is to move anywhere, I think it's going to be to the Cleveland Browns. Okay, because I think you look at it like this. Jarvis Landry is good, okay? I think he's overrated, in my opinion. Like, Jarvis Landry is a good player, and he is a reliable target, but he's not some superstar. He's not some, all-star, some multi-time Pro Bowler. He's just, in my
thing
eyes,
with him in Cleveland is you have two slot guys then, though. You have Jarvis Landry and Chris Godwin.
But, I mean, listen, if Chris Godwin's going to get the bag, you better believe he shouldn't be one-dimensional.
Yeah, that's true. So, and he's not, too. He's not one-dimensional. He's very, very good in the slot.
Yeah, exactly. And that's not what I'm disputing or anything. But if you look at it, too, Baker Mayfield is somebody who, I wouldn't say is like Tom, but he doesn't really take those deep shots all that often.
He shouldn't be taking
He shouldn't, and he does try to lead methodical drives down the field, okay? And I think that's a big reason why, or that's one of the reasons why him and Odell didn't work, because Odell definitely is capable of catching the slant and taking it to the house.
But Odell's that deep threat.
He is that deep
he's
threat.
He's a fade, red zone type threat.
He is that guy who typically thrives off of the big plays, off of long, deep routes.
Thrives having a guy like Matthew Stafford throwing him the ball,
exactly.
as we saw.
Yeah, And here's like, I don't actually think like a lot of people are kind of hopping off the Baker Mayfield train. I personally am not ready to do it just yet.
I totally agree.
Not ready to, yeah, I'm not ready to do it just yet because when he did play, he didn't look that impressive. This was an injury. This was an injury. This was an injury-plagued year for Baker Mayfield. Now, if the play that he had last year continues and goes into next year, absolutely, I'm with you. Yes. Okay, but I'm not ready to hop off on the Mayfield train just yet. I think that when he's healthy, he's able to be a pretty damn good game manager. He's not the number 1 overall pick, or he shouldn't have been in hindsight.
But he's not a bad quarterback.
But by no means is he somebody who should be labeled as a bust. I think that on his best years, he could be a Pro Bowler. Yeah. On his worst years, he can be an average quarterback.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
I absolutely agree. I'm not ready to give up on Baker Mayfield just yet. And who does Cleveland think they are? I mean, they have had awful quarterbacks for years. Baker Mayfield is not an awful quarterback.
By any means.
No, not by any means. And are we going to forget that he led that team to the playoffs and won a playoff game convincingly against the best, quote unquote, the best team, just had the best record. But in the league, I mean, I'm not ready to just, throw Baker Mayfield out. He was injured. It affected his accuracy. Well, he played awful, and if that play continues, I'll be like, yes, he was a bust. They shouldn't have drafted him.
Yeah, well,
he's not good. Yeah, it's time to move on. But I'm not ready to move on from just yet. I want because here's the thing with Baker. His first year, they were trying to make it, like, integrate him, you know what I mean? And make it how it was for him in college, where it's like, oh, yeah, because in college, he could make the big plays down the field, stuff like that. And that didn't really work. And then his next year, they were like, okay, maybe we look at him more as a game manager type thing. This year, he was injured, so now he's going into his 4th year, right? Mm-hmm. So he's going into his 4th year. They know the role that he plays, and he's going to be healthy. That's the thing. First year, learning experience. Second year, trying to figure it out. 3rd year, injured. 4th year. I mean, this has to be the year, though. I will say this has to be the year. I'm doing the same thing that I did with Daniel Jones this year. This was Daniel Jones' year, and he did not perform well.
But he also was hurt himself.
That's sure.
Because remember that they had long stretches of Mike Glennon and Jake Fromm.
That's fair. So. But when he was healthy, he wasn't really playing that great either.
But I do think that I do know what you're saying in terms of them being under the same limelight in terms of have this year.
It's your year.
I don't think there's any argument that Baker and Daniel Jones, the talent discrepancy there.
Absolutely.
I personally believe that on Daniel Jones' best day, he can look average. Okay, and on his worst day, he looks below average.
Exactly.
I think on Baker Mayfield's best day, he looks like a Pro Bowler.
Yeah.
So I think that's definitely the talent discrepancy there. So one thing really about Chris Godwin too. I mean, by no means am I here trying to diminish his talent. Okay, but when you're a slot guy, okay, not only you're Tom Brady's biggest target. If your name isn't Rob Gronkowski, most likely you're Tom Brady's biggest target if you're in the slot. Okay, so I'm not here saying that Tom Brady fed him the ball. Please don't think that's what I'm trying to say. But okay, I think he benefited from so many guys being around him that the defense couldn't really focus on him in particular.
They all did.
If he gets the bag, I mean, because Mike Evans is the best receiver on that team.
Yes.
Okay, and then Gronk, yes, is older, but with you can't ignore such a big body and just the sheer size alone.
You can't. Then you have Godwin, and you had AB, who was just one-on-one against the number 3 corner, and
which is insane,
burning it.
Yeah, exactly. So in my opinion, if Chris Godwin does get that bag, okay, which it's looking like he will, even with his ACL injury, okay, if he does get that bag, do you think he'll be able to thrive as that first option, considering he had Mike Evans, Gronk when he was on the field, Antonio Brown, Cameron Brate obviously isn't a sexy name, but he's a reliable target. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, no, I think that he will be able to thrive to an extent. You know what I mean? This, obviously very, very, different type of players. But people thought that once Robert Woods went down, Cooper Kupp was okay. It's like, oh, no attention is on all the attention can go to just Cooper Kupp, and he still balled out. You know what I mean?
Well, because they got Odell, and you can't ignore Odell.
Yeah, but now you have Van Jefferson, and you have a different receiving core. Is my point? But I think that he could thrive being a number 1, but only to an extent, and it depends on the receiving core.
Well, so then why does a guy like that deserve the bag? Is my opinion.
Does. He absolutely does deserve the bag, in my opinion.
Well, so then, what I'm asking you now is though, like, you're saying yes, he could thrive, but it depends on the scenario.
It does.
In my opinion, if you were to give somebody the bag, their talent, regardless of the situation around them and their production, I mean, there are exceptions to every rule, but their talent, like, shouldn't matter that much. And that's the same logic that I use with Trevor Lawrence, okay? They dubbed him, I've said this a million times, they've dubbed him as a can't-miss prospect. Well, no matter what the circumstances, he'll thrive. He didn't do that good. And that's kind of the same logic I'm using with Chris Godwin, you know?
That's fair. No, so here's my thing. I think that the situation is very important because let's say he goes to New England and becomes a number one. I believe that he would thrive in that situation, being that slot guy, and you have Kendrick Bourne and possibly Isabella coming over. So
that'd be something, huh?
Well, that would be something.
He's a speedster.
Oh yeah, I'm excited for that. That you just get your Nelson Aguilar replacement right there.
Well,
straight up.
And maybe Andy Isabella will get 1,300 yards.
Maybe. You never know. But I think he could thrive in a situation like that, being the number one guy. But, just to pick a team, New Orleans, who don't have bag at all. They can't pay him. But if they somehow if he were to go to New Orleans, I don't think he thrives in a situation like that. If Devontae Adams up and leaves, and, even if Aaron Rodgers stays, I don't think he thrives in Green Bay being the number one. There's places where I don't think that he can thrive being the number one due to the receivers around him, but I think that he would thrive in New England as being, okay, I'm the number one guy, but there's still Kendrick Bourne, there's still Hunter Henry, there's all these different type of weapons. So I think
Jacoby Myers,
yeah, I think he could thrive there definitely. Even somewhere like Indianapolis, maybe it would depend, but I think it would be more difficult for him. I think New England, without even being like a homer, is the best fit for Godwin, other than maybe staying in Tampa.
Yeah. So, and then real quick on Chris Godwin as well. It's just, again, I do understand what his talent level is, but again, you're talking about the talent around him, Will, and that's kind of the point that I'm making. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's what I was saying with his situation. Tom Brady thrives off of throwing it to slot guys, and the receivers in turn thrive.
For sure.
Okay, and
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying with Tampa, but the thing
Mike
is,
Evans and Gronk.
Yeah, with Mike Evans and Gronk,
and Leonard Fournette,
for sure, that's very different than being a guy around Mike Evans and Gronk is a very different situation. Being a number one guy around Kendrick Bourne and Jacoby Myers, you know what I mean? Like he wasn't the number one on that team, but he was, like you said, he got the ball a lot. Well, I think it would be the same thing in New England. It's very different, right? He doesn't have, and he's going to be the actually number one. Okay, I'm the number one guy, but he also has different talent around him that isn't going to draw as much attention as maybe a Mike Evans. You have to put, a safety over top because that guy is like 6'6". He will get any jump ball that's thrown that way. And Gronk obviously needs attention, and Antonio Brown. So he's not going to have the same amount of, I guess, freedom to be one-on-one in the slot the whole time, but I do think that he thrives in that situation because guys around him are still good enough.
So then let me ask you this. So if he gets more attention and he kind of struggles on defense, do you think that in turn, I think it will, but so if in turn this happens, that opens up the avenues and lanes for other people to draw one-on-ones and say like a Jacoby Myers, or I know you're going to roll your eyes at Nelson Aguilar or a Kendrick Bourne, or they get more separation or whatever it may be. If other guys thrive because of his ability to maybe draw double teams and more attentions because they know the Pat system, I understand in an on-the-field way that benefits you, okay, but at the same time, if you throw the bag at Chris Godwin, you want him to perform and put up the numbers no matter what.
I think he will. That's the thing. I think he will. Because it's not like... The thing is, it's not like we're
and
getting...
he's coming off an ACL tear.
That's fair. We're not going out and we're not getting a vertical threat. You know what I mean? Chris Godwin is not like the... I think, honestly... It would be better for us to get a guy and this is the play style, a guy like Godwin more than a guy like Evans, in my opinion. Because with with this receiving core, it's if Mike Evans is just gonna get double teamed and then it's what? Okay, you have Myers one-on-one. Like Chris Godwin, if he gets double teamed, that's a slot guy getting double teamed. That, first of all, should not happen. It probably won't happen. And if it does, then other guys are wide open. Like then you actually have a one-on-one with your wide out.
Well, that's what I said. Yeah, and that's what I said. But in turn, that essentially, if Chris Godwin,
but I think he'll put up. He's not going to get double teamed. It won't happen.
I think Chris Godwin, in my opinion, is a Pro Bowler. I don't think he's an elite wide receiver. I'm sorry, I don't. I think Chris Godwin's a Pro Bowler.
He's a Pro Bowler.
I think he's a Pro Bowler.
But I think he's an above average Pro Bowler. You know what I mean? It's tough.
If we were to make a wide receiver tier list, we made a quarterback one. Okay, if we were to make a wide receiver tier list,
he's like B to C.
I put him in B.
Yeah.
I put Chris Godwin in B.
That's fair.
Okay, and if you pay A tier money to a B tier guy and then he essentially becomes a decoy, I'd argue that's a waste of money.
I don't think he's going to become a decoy though. That's the fair. I think he'll still be in that slot position.
He very well may. He very well may.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean,
it's tough, but you know, Godwin, he could realistically end up anywhere. There's not many places where I'm like, oh, yeah, no, there's no shot.
Yeah.
Besides, like, you know, New Orleans, Green Bay, teams who are not participating in free agency at all this year. But hey, I don't know.
So from one potentially future Patriot to a current distressed Patriot, J.C. Jackson, what do you think?
I don't know. Well, first of all, he's not gonna stay. I think it's pretty apparent. It's like the Gilmore thing all over again. It's the same thing. We're just going to trade him away or let him walk, and then we're just going to draft his replacement. Which just worked, which Bill has had a track record of being successful with. Sure. I don't know what a good fit for JC is, though, necessarily. I mean, what team really needs it, like Cincinnati?
Every team needs a number one corner.
Yeah, but look, J.C. Jackson, while he is a great, like, number one lockdown guy, is he on the same level as, you know, different guys to make that money? Well, that's what I've been arguing for a long time. Yeah. But you said throw him the bag. For us, throw him the bag. You know what I mean? He's in the system. He's grown with us. You know, he knows the New England. Like, give him the bag. He knows the job. If he goes to another team, I don't know if he's that much of an elite talent to be like. So sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but you're kind of saying like the whole Jamie Collins thing. Where it would be absolutely. Where it would be, oh, he goes somewhere else, gets the bag, and then sucks. Yes. So I was actually going to ask, like, that was a question I was going to ask in a couple of minutes. I was going to say, are you afraid that J.C. Jackson is a product of the system and would kind of be like really the Jamie Collins effect? I think he is, absolutely. I think Bill's really good at making these corners with technique, kind of learn a defense and a scheme to a point where, you know, JC gets a lot of picks. And he's not like Trayvon Diggs. He doesn't leave guys open. That's not JC. Unless it's Stefan Diggs in the playoffs. Yeah, you know, Stefan Diggs, period. Yeah, right? But he is a guy who, yes, he will lock you down, and if the ball comes his way, he has fantastic hands and he picks that off. So I really like J.C. Jackson. But look, the Bengals are looking for a corner one. They need it. Mm-hmm. They need it. I like Bates. And I like Hilton. I think Hilton's an alright corner. More of a safety. No, but D-backs, you know what I mean? Yeah. So around that whole secondary, I like Hilton. I think he's a solid player, maybe as a corner too. I think maybe he fits in there, but he's not going to elevate it to this whole nother level as a guy like, you know, Jalen Ramsey. You know, no matter where he goes, he's going to ball. It doesn't matter. It didn't matter in Jacksonville. It didn't matter in LA. It doesn't matter. Whatever team he goes to, he balls out. Guys like Surtain, who are becoming that absolute lockdown guy. I don't know. Maybe he's the answer for Cincinnati, but it's hard for JC. If he goes to Cincinnati, I could be like, okay, I get it. Anywhere else, I don't. I think he's Jamie Collins 2.0. I don't know. So, but like, what about the Bengals suggests to you kind of that would be the case, you know what I mean? Like, what about, what is the, like, I know you said Hilton and the guys that they have, but what is, like, the big exception about the Bengals that would make JC successful as opposed to, like, anywhere else but New England? Well, you know what I mean? I think the defense is really a couple of pieces away from actually being a really good defense if they can keep what they have right now, which I think they will and they should. I think they have really good pass rushers in Hubbard, and I'm blanking on a bunch of their names. I like their linebacker, Wilson. I think Logan Wilson, yeah. I think they have a good defense overall, and they played really good team defense, which is what people forget. They were very good at playing team defense, and I think if you add a guy like JC with pass rushers like that, it's almost kind of like a New England, you know what I mean? Where you have, you know, Matt Judon and different guys who are able to rush. You have Hightower, able to stop the run, and you force guys to, oh, you know, there's a one-on-one, but it's JC Jackson, but oh, it's my only option. And yeah, I think he would fit in that system better than he would for any other team. Like JC, And look, we use this to diminish quarterbacks.
Cam Tate's roasting me on YouTube, by the way.
Really?
Check the comments, bro.
I'm gonna have to check those. But we talk about system quarterbacks, and that's kind of like a diminishing thing. And I don't want it to sound like it is, because I really don't believe it is. But JC, in my opinion, is a system corner. He plays well if the guys around him are good. And I think that in Cincinnati that would work. Unlike a guy like Jalen Ramsey, who's actually a corner one, no matter where he goes, he's taking the best player off the field, like a Gilmore, guys like that. Prime Richard Sherman, I don't know.
So I'm not gonna go out on a huge limb and say that I believe that J.C. Jackson is like a elite guy anywhere he goes, but I do believe that even if it is a regression, I don't think it'll be a complete dump off like Jamie Collins. I do believe that J.C. Jackson could go elsewhere and perform, because if you think about it, the Patriots are a man-heavy team, okay, and anywhere else that is a man-heavy team, because there's nothing really complicated about man-to-man defense. It is, here I am, here you are, I got you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And as a corner specifically, for maybe linebackers, because sometimes you may have to cover tight ends, sometimes you may have to cover running backs, and then same thing goes to safeties, but specifically for a cornerback, wherever you line up, man-to-man defense is man-to-man defense. Okay, so, and depending on who you match up against, that's the only difficult part is your opponent.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, the scheme and the concept isn't hard to understand. One team that is very heavy on man-to-man coverage, the New York Jets.
The Pats.
The New York Jets.
That's not a bad one.
I think the New York Jets would be a good fit for J.C. Jackson.
Maybe.
I do.
Maybe.
Because Robert Saleh,
How's JC gonna get all his pretty interception stats without Zach Wilson throwing it to him?
Yeah. That's a fantastic point. Right? Without Zach Wilson, the numbers may go down. That's a fantastic point, Will. Okay, but what have I always said about corners and safeties? Yeah. I don't give a shit how many picks you get. If you lock up that side of the field, man, you lock up that side of the field. It's a compliment if they're not throwing it your way, and there's a compliment if you don't get stats. So that's JC Jackson. And it's funny, though. That's a good point. But anyway, so I think that Robert Saleh, being the aggressive mindset that he is, I think that Robert Saleh definitely would use JC Jackson to the best of his ability. Because, look at what he did with Richard Sherman, okay? They were a heavy man defense, but he knew that Richard Sherman's strength wasn't man. So they kind of turned it into a zone because he was the number one corner on that team. And guess what? They still did pretty good.
Can I make a crazy prediction real quick while we're on the subject?
Say it.
The Jets, I think, might be a good team next year. I'm just saying.
Maybe we say it every year and it doesn't happen, but we'll see. We'll see.
My prediction is the Jets have a bounce back year purely because I think their roster is young. It's good. I think Vera Tucker takes a leap. And they have Michael Carter. I think they're another big-time wide receiver away from being a good team. And they have cap, too. That's the thing. Cap. They have a bunch of cap. They have a lot of money, so I don't know.
So, I don't know if you're seeing what Don McCammer is saying. They're saying, I agree with Will that JC is more of a system corner, but we should still tag him. And Dom's saying he's the cornerstone to this team.
See, he's not the cornerstone to this team. That's just false. I love JC, and I think JC is a great corner. I think he's more of a system guy, though. I think he benefits from being in this Belichick type of scheme where, he is man-to-man. There's a lot of other stuff going on up front that allows guys like Darnold and Wilson, a young Wilson, to just throw up picks to him, and he's just able to get them.
Well, yeah, when you're kind of a blitz and a zero-high team, because Pats do run a lot of one-high. It's
just D-Mac back there. That's it.
Yeah, or D-Mac or Duggar or whatever it is. So when you run one-high, typically, not typically, it is everyone else's man-to-man. Because one high, obviously you have your one deep.
Yeah, put Adrian Phillips down low, have him play man.
Have him down in the box where Jamie Collins usually would be, because he's that hybrid. And then same could be said with Kyle Duggar. So another fit for J.C. Jackson, in my opinion, is the Pittsburgh Steelers.
It's not bad.
Okay, so I think if J.C. Jackson goes to the Pittsburgh Steelers, because Mike Tomlin, amazing defensive coach, okay, I know...
That's actually somewhere I didn't even think about. That's another spot I think he could work.
I appreciate it. And then who just got hired as a defensive assistant there in Pittsburgh?
I forget. I know
Brian Flores.
Flores, okay.
Who was the defensive coordinator at one point with J.C. Jackson?
Yeah, that's
Brian
fair.
Flores. He knows how to use...
Flores deserves a head coaching job, I think. But I think now the Steelers team is going to be scary next year.
We'll see. It all depends on who their quarterback is. Mike Tomlin has proven no matter what. okay, that he's not going to have a losing season. Okay, anyone
He
who
won't.
thinks Mike Tomlin should be fired is completely wrong.
I
We
agree.
all revere Bill Cowher as this legendary coach. Okay, somebody who knew more and was more successful. Yeah, guess what? They both have Super Bowl rings. Bill Cowher had more Hall of Famers on his team, and he had losing records.
Sure.
Mike Tomlin never did.
Absolutely.
Bill Cowher, there was a coach before Mike Tomlin.
Yeah. Have you ever heard the mic'd up with Mike Tomlin? He's talking to Chase Young, and he says, "I never want to lose in as many games to a guy like you."
Yeah.
He's like talking to him before the game. He's like, I never want to be that bad of a team where I get to draft a guy like you.
Yeah.
But just some
And
legendary
that's the mindset
talent.
I love.
Yeah.
So
Tomlin's a fantastic coach. I agree.
exactly. And I think that J.C. Jackson would thrive in that system because if they re-sign Joe Hayden, he's kind of old, so it'll be for the cheap.
Yeah.
But if they don't re-sign Joe Hayden, then he would slide right into that number one corner. And you'd have Minka Fitzpatrick back there at safety. And then you'd have J.C. Jackson.
TJ
Tell me how
Watt,
much TJ
pass
Watt,
rushing.
Devin Bush, who's pretty
Yeah.
damn good. That's lethal.
That is good.
That's lethal.
That's like best defense in the league type
I
stuff.
think that's the best
With a
defense.
Tomlin scheme.
Yes.
Man, I didn't even think about that.
You
That's
wet
a
in your
good one.
pants, Will?
Oh, yeah. That's a good one right there.
There we go.
Love that AFC North football.
Oh, baby. So, on to sexier positions.
Right.
Famous Jameis, Will.
Famous Jameis.
What do
Let's
you
do
think?
it. Jameis Winston, I don't know. I don't think he stays with New Orleans. I don't. I think that they are in such cap hell right now that I think they need to wipe that quarterback room, sign veterans for little money, and draft a guy. That's the directions I see the Saints going, because they have no money, man. Like, they don't have money to pay Jameis. They don't. He wants a contract. I mean, he played well. He's played well. He deserves a contract. Maybe not as big as he's probably going to get, but best fit for Jameis, I don't know. Maybe Indianapolis, because I think they want to move on from Carson Wentz, and I think he could thrive in a position like that. I mean, we saw when Kamara and him were both healthy. I mean, they won games. They beat the Pats. So maybe him and Jonathan Taylor could make something happen. I don't know. I'm trying to think of teams who need a quarterback. Maybe Commanders. Maybe, I don't know. It's because you really need to be in a tough quarterback position to want to go and get Jameis, in my opinion. But
I don't think so,
well,
man.
he's a mid-tier guy. You know what I mean?
So,
if you're in a position where you're like, we need a quarterback, we can't pay for one, and we're not going to draft one, I don't think you're in a great quarterback position.
So-
well, Jameis is okay.
the majority. So what I saw out of Jameis Winston in New Orleans, he matured very much, in my opinion. Like
He did.
Yeah, sometimes he would still throw interceptions, right?
He has the what the F ball in his arsenal at all times.
Yeah.
He's got that, oh my god, what is he doing? And sometimes it works.
Yeah.
Sometimes it does, where he just throws it up, but sometimes it's like, oh my
Yeah,
goodness, what's going on?
but when I saw that he would be with Drew Brees, like under the tutelage of him, it didn't matter that Drew Brees was in his final year. You always have your football IQ and you always have your football intelligence. That doesn't leave you. It doesn't matter how old you get. Well, he might have dementia, obviously, in his 70s, but you know what I mean. Okay,
Yeah.
Drew Brees ain't playing until he's 70, even though with his play style, he probably could.
I don't think so. He's got a noodle arm, man.
Yeah, whatever. But anyways, I really do think the best fit is actually, like, boring, I know, for him to stay in New Orleans.
It's very possible.
Yeah, because they did actually back end a lot of their cap problems. Okay, like they signed a lot of guys, or they restructured a lot of guys' deals. So now I believe they have $34 million in cap. Okay, so obviously you're
That's
not going to
still
get.
not a lot, man.
It's,
In football
it's
terms,
decent.
like
It's decent.
Yeah.
If you want to make a bunch of small moves, it's decent. And then next
Sure.
year they can keep on restructuring or release or cut guys. So they still have guys now. They still have their good players now under cheap. Okay, and if they decide, oh, it's time to move on, boom, they can cut their ties with them,
That's right.
and then they can still sign players now.
I will say, if you're a Saints fan, just hold on, man. The next couple of years are going to be a little rough, I think. I think it's going to be rough.
We'll see, because I think Dennis Allen is a guy who can hold down the fort, okay?
Sure.
But I think that if the best bet for Jameis Winston, in my opinion, is to stay in New Orleans, okay, they definitely, I believe, need receiver help because they're pretty weak.
Which is hard because they don't have cap
Which
to do
is
so.
strange. No, dude, they have about 36. Yeah, they have about 34 to 36 mil that's restructured. So if they get a couple of solid guys, or if they draft Olave or Jamison Williams, if they're able to get them, I think that they'd be pretty good because Marcus Callaway's pretty good. Like he's solid.
He's a solid receiver, yeah.
You know, so he's a nice guy to build off of. Okay, so I think that if they surround him with some cheap guys, or like I said, draft some guys, I think they'll be in pretty decent shape offensively if they bring back Jameis Winston. But
they need to free Slant Boy over there.
yeah. Oh, I kind of forgot about Michael
Free
Thomas.
Slant Boy, because he wants out.
I did forget about Michael Thomas. I will say that. But here's another one that I think could be kind of interesting. Go back to Tampa. What do you think about him going back to Tampa?
I mean, that's possible. It's very possible. I don't know. It's not bad, I guess. I mean, I really, really don't like him in that style of offense at all, especially with Bruce Arians coaching.
It's still there.
Which
I'm surprised he didn't retire with Tom Brady. I'm actually very surprised.
Also, Bruce Arians needs to stop talking his talk on social media.
What?
He needs to stop talking shit, man.
What did he say?
About it wasn't all Brady. Brady got credit for all the hard work. Have you seen this? He's been throwing shade.
I don't go on Twitter or do any of this shit.
Cam and Dom, if you want to throw your input on this, or just links, and I'll pull them up while we're on the show, like of articles or Twitter posts or something. Pretty much, Arians has been saying that he's been throwing shade at Brady, saying that he gets all the credit, and there was a lot of guys who were a part of the Super Bowl, which is true, but I mean,
does Arians win a Super Bowl without Tom Brady?
No.
There
you go. Literally, that's it. Wait, he's been throwing some shade, and he needs to stop, man, because he literally at one point said, "Yeah, I didn't even need to coach sometimes. Tom did that." So, yeah, he needs to stop. And
that's embarrassing.
Oh,
that's embarrassing.
No, he needs to stop.
That's embarrassing.
It's one thing to have a guy like that. First of all, great. Tom Brady should be doing that. He's been playing for 20 years. But to throw shade at that's not a good look, man.
There should be a boundary between a coach and a player.
Absolutely.
Okay, like I did it to my players a couple times this year. I would point at them, I'd say player. I'd point at me, and I'd say coach.
Yeah.
Because they'd be like, coach, why don't we do? And I'd go player, coach, and then I'd point at him, and then I'd point at me. You know, so there is that boundary.
A couple of times.
Yeah,
it's hard.
It ain't hard.
It's hard for me.
Yeah, assert your fucking dominance, man.
I stay by it, but it's hard. I had to pull my center out of the game because they were fouling. We were up. I coach basketball, by the way.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, pull out their foul. And he was like, Coach, what do you mean? And I just go, shut the bleep up and point to the bench. And he just walked over. He was pissed. But, hey, we won the game.
Exactly. Hey, so whatever. I mean, I think, I don't know if you remember too, but Bruce Arians actually said after Jameis Winston was released or they didn't resign from his deal, they were like, oh, how are you feeling about your quarterback situation? That he goes, oh, if we could win 7 games with Jameis Winston, we're in great shape. I'm like, bro, like, shut the fuck up. You know, that actually did make me mad, but
I do like Jameis. I do. He's a mid-tier guy, and I think he can be a playoff quarterback.
Of course, and I think he would have been because New Orleans almost was with Trevor Siemian and Taysom Hill.
Yeah.
Okay, and I like Ian Book. I like Ian Book, but he had such short notice. I'm not gonna blame him for that.
Sure.
Okay. So I mean, come on.
He might get another shot, but probably not.
We'll see. You know, but a dark horse team that I'm thinking of, and I think that a lot of people aren't. Same division, the Carolina Panthers.
It's not bad either.
I think that because Carolina,
I think they might be looking to draft a guy.
They might.
Maybe.
They might. But
you know what? I think Matt Corral would actually be not a bad fit there.
I like Matt Corral. I do, but his injury concerns are one thing, and then
sure, but that's why he's gonna slip.
Yeah, and then maybe that, and then they also have concerns about whether or not he's a system player. So with Ole Miss, because that's their style. I mean, they had him running 30 times a game at one point. Matt Corral. We got
a Shefty bomb real quick.
No way, really?
It's not that big.
Let's
but
see.
Since we're talking about, I guess, draft guys, Alabama standout wide receiver Jamison Wilson is said to be ahead of schedule in his rehab, roughly 6 weeks after his knee surgery. So
there we go.
Speedy recovery for him, which, you know, unfortunately for us, he's probably going to shoot up more in the draft. But, you know, he was a guy who might fall because of injury. Which, yeah.
Well, we'll see. But anyway, so what do you think about Jameis Winston to the Panthers, man?
I like that one too.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty solid fit, but it's strange, and I would have to see it in person. You know what I mean? Like, there's some stuff that you can just tell will work. Like, for example, Tom Brady, Mike Evans, you're like, oh yeah, that's gonna work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Mac Jones coming to New England, we all kind of felt like, oh, that should work. But like Jameis to Carolina, like, I don't know, like I could see it working, but I could also see it like going up in flames. I have no idea. I want to see it though. That's for sure.
We'll see.
Yeah.
So
it's not bad.
You ready to move on?
Sure. Yeah.
What do you think about Terron Armstead?
So this is a guy that I really didn't know much about until you brought him up. I mean, teams that need a left tackle. I mean,
he's an elite left tackle.
Yeah, the Bengals immediately need a left tackle. And they have money, so that'd be a good fit, I think. I I don't know. Maybe like the Giants need a little bit of that O-line restructure.
They do.
Yeah, I don't really know a lot about this guy, so I'll let you kind of shoot with this one.
To me, it's Terron Armstead. It's very, very rare that a premium offensive lineman, especially a tackle, goes on the free agent market. Because most of the time,
they're locked up.
These teams are, a lot of the time these teams lock these guys up and boom, you're not going anywhere. Okay, so this is a rare opportunity for some teams, okay? Yeah. A lot of people say the Miami Dolphins, but I disagree because Terron Armstead is a left tackle. Tua is a lefty. So most of the time,
you need a right tackle.
You pay your guy to protect the blind side.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, if I were them, I'd go after somebody else.
You could always move him to right tackle. Because if
you're
a left tackle, you're the better tackle. You know what I mean?
Typically. So you could, but you're paying your guy to play to his strengths, essentially.
Sure.
You know? But like I said, you also would
I'm sure he's played right tackle in his time.
Yeah, at the same time, you would want versatility.
Yeah.
So you could do that, but that is also taking a guy out of his element a little bit. But I do expect him to be elite, too.
Sure.
So anyways, I think that his fits, once again, the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh. I have the Steelers, the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the Chicago Bears.
The Jaguar. Maybe the Bears. I feel like have more problems that stem from just that O line. But I like. I already forgot what you just said. Did you say it again?
I said it to the Steelers, the Jags, and the Bears.
The Jags. That's what I was saying. I mean, the new coach. I mean, new system for Trevor Lawrence. Mm-hmm. I still think Trevor Lawrence can be, very, very good at generational talent quarterback. When he's doesn't have possibly the worst coach in NFL history, calling the shots for him. I would
Bill
be totally
Belichick start coaching the Jaguars.
I would love for them to go get a left tackle, and I think they will restructure this offensive line this offseason in the draft. I believe they have the second most cap space. I believe
Jacksonville, yes, around there.
They're top 5.
Yes,
but. Yeah, I mean, go out and get an offensive line for Trevor Lawrence and, figure out your goddamn running back situation. Like, big time they need to figure out that running back situation.
Yep.
To the point where they need to start trading guys.
Yeah.
And it should not be ETN. It shouldn't be ETN. Maybe. I don't know. You drafted him. Fuck it. You might as well keep him, but I don't know.
So, the way I look at it, too, the Steelers, the Jaguars, and the Bears, all 3 of them actually have drafted some offensive linemen within the last couple of years in a shape or form. Okay, and usually I'm a big proponent of letting that offensive line develop and letting them kind of move as they go. But in some cases, not all the time, okay, there are exceptions to this, what I'm about to say. But there are times where one guy can make it so much better and put everyone in their right exact place where they thrive. And I think for all 3 of these teams, actually, that's the case with Terron Armstead, okay? Because the Chicago Bears, they drafted Tevin Jenkins and Larry Borom last year, a left tackle and a right tackle. They elected to get rid of Bobby Massey and Charles Reynolds, which was bold to get rid of 2 veteran tackles. Which
Jaguars are second. I have to make sure of that.
Yeah, which is a very bold move, but nonetheless, they did it. Larry Borom was a pretty decent starter, but he had room to improve, and I anticipate he will. Tevin Jenkins struggled mightily. Okay, Tevin Jenkins struggled mightily in his rookie year, and it's weird because Borom was the 4th-round pick and Jenkins was the 2nd. Okay, so in my opinion, if you sign Terron Armstead and you move Tevin Jenkins into the left guard or the right guard, wherever you elect, okay, then that kind of just puts everybody in their place. And I believe that, James Daniels, he's a guard that not a lot of people talk about. I think that's a very good quad. The center, I'm sorry, I'm not too good. I'm not keen on their center right now, but I believe, man, that could be a pretty good, damn good lethal 4. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, no, he could definitely. First of all, like I said, the Saints are not going to pay this man. Dom actually corrected himself too. They're still minus 45 in the hole.
Well, they did.
It's not looking good.
They freed up a lot for this year.
Sure.
Yeah.
But they're not going to be able to pay a long-term left tackle. There's just no shot. I think easily Chicago could work. The Steelers could work. I really like Jacksonville because I'm taking a look at the cap right now. I mean, they got a lot of spending money, man. Like a lot of spending money. So sign a guy like that. I get that people see the Dolphins now because of the money. I mean, the Bengals need to make moves this year. I agree with everything that you said right there. And then tackle's hard.
The Steelers, so kind of with that explanation I made, like minus the
Bears. The Steelers could pay for him too easily.
So I kind of use that same explanation for the 3 of them because, like I said, when you have a bunch of young guys who are kind of growing and developing, and then they get that elite veteran presence, that can put everything into place like firmly where it belongs. And I really like that signing for them. The only thing is that he is a little injury prone, and he's gonna demand big money because he is elite when he's on the field.
Yeah,
that's the only thing that really concerns me. But when there is a guy like that who's a premium tackle, a left tackle, you have to sign him.
Yeah,
you have to.
Probably.
I got Stefan Gilmore next.
Yeah, I'll do Gilmore.
Yeah, I got 3 more. I got Gilmore, Chandler Jones, and Allen Robinson.
Sure. We'll talk about Gilmore real quick.
Yeah.
Gilmore, I think he could easily go here. I think
Chargers?
I think that would be a good fit. Yeah. With the Chargers, I think, because look, the Chargers got spending money and they need defensive playmakers. Like, need them. That defense was atrocious this year, and Justin Herbert, who, again, I've said this and I stay by it. If I were to take any quarterback right now to start a franchise with, I would want Justin Herbert. I think he's accurate, he's big, he's athletic, he's got a big arm, and I think as far as talent goes, I think he is the most complete right now, and he won them games, he won them shootouts. So that's a guy that I look for and go, okay, he won shootouts, but there was no defense. We need to get him a defense. I think Gilmore is one of the guys where you pay, he immediately makes that defense better. So the Chargers or the Bengals, who also need the same thing, who have money, I guess.
So I think that due to the circumstances of last year, Stefan Gilmore actually is going to be somebody, and his age, let's not forget his age. I think he's going to be somebody who gets a 1-year prove-it deal this year.
He might.
In my opinion. And so under the assumption that he's going to get a 1-year prove-it deal, I have 3 teams listed. Okay. I think he should go back to the Panthers. Because I think him, J.C. Horn, and C.J. Henderson, and Jeremy Chin, because I think Dante Jackson is going to leave. Jeremy Chin being their safety.
That would have to be the Panthers' one move, though. They don't have super amount.
Yeah, exactly. And
it would have to be okay.
So how much they have? 12 mil. So I'd say
they got 12 mil, but they have like 6 effective. So they would be in the hole this year, but they could do it.
Yeah. So let's see. But I think that it's the Panthers. Again, I think the Steelers, say if they don't get JC, or if they do, okay, that's reuniting JC and Stefan,
right.
Which, let's see, if it works out, then holy hell is that going to be. Like, imagine if they get JC, Stefan, and then they have Minkah Fitzpatrick. Good Lord, man. Yeah. Good Lord, is that crazy? And then another one, Denver Broncos. I think Stefan Gilmore and the Denver Broncos kind of to mentor Surtain. I think that's great.
I don't think Surtain's the guy that needs to be mentored, honestly.
Well, he doesn't.
Not that I'm saying he doesn't need to get better. He absolutely needs to be coached.
Well, no one's above being. Yeah,
absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't need to not be coached, but I think he doesn't need mentorship. I think he needs time. I think he needs time to just develop in the league rather than like watch. Like, there's guys who I believe like, okay, start him. Mac Jones, I thought was one of those guys. I didn't think we would do it, but it's like, okay, start Mac Jones. He needs experience. And there's guys like Trevor Lawrence where it's like, oh, let's have him watch.
Well, I'm not saying that Patrick Surtain would sit.
I know.
I'm saying that obviously because I mean, who really besides Surtain? Because I can't think of it. I think they have. I don't know. It was AJ Bouye, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, and really, who besides that is freaking like a corner in Denver? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong.
It was a good defense this year.
Yeah, and it still wasn't because they had Justin Simmons, who is a great safety as well.
But at that point, I don't think corner is your biggest concern if you're the Broncos, I guess.
It's not, but I mean, if you look at it too, I mean, you got 38 mil. Okay, you
got quarterback money.
Yeah, you have the receiver. Okay, so you do have the wide receiver, man. Because Cortland Sutton, Tim Patrick, got Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler, and Noah Fant as a tight end, and freaking Javonte Williams, who I think is going to be a stud.
They needed to cut Melvin Gordon, get rid of that money, and give him more money.
Yeah,
because Javonte Williams is that RB1.
I think Javonte Williams is going to be a stud.
Yep.
Okay, so I think you can afford to spend money on that number 2. And if you sign Stefan to a 1-year, 10 mil, you got 28 mil left.
You got Jameis Winston money.
I mean, hey, maybe that's something. Maybe that's a possibility.
Yeah.
I mean, and there are other guys who you could inquire about. So I believe. I mean, so I think that Stefan Gilmore in Denver makes a lot of sense because if he plays like prime Stefan, like Gilly Lock, that's Surtain and Gilly Lock.
Oh, it's gonna. That would be crazy. And while I don't think that's a bad idea, at first it is a good idea. I'll say that it looks super unlikely.
Maybe.
It looks very unlikely that something like that will happen, but I don't mind the fit. I could see the Chargers easily getting a guy like Gilly. They need
pairing him with him and Asante Samuel.
Oh yeah.
So I think that's really good.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Sorry, who I got next? Chandler Jones, baby.
Chandler Jones. He's going to get the bag. He should. He should absolutely get in the bag. And he's not getting like, your average player bag. He's getting that D tackle, that Von Miller money. And
going into his 10th year.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. He's gonna get the change, dude. I'm telling you.
Hold on. Let's see. How old is Chandler Jones?
I don't know, but look, pass rushers are so needed in the league. I mean, I could see someone like absolutely throwing him a whole, bucket of change.
So Chandler Jones is 32 years old.
Yeah.
So
he's still gonna get the bag.
Are you gonna give him that 5-year deal?
Oh, I'm not going to, but there's a sorry franchise out there that will.
Well,
there's absolutely.
If you're a GM, do you give him that 5-year deal? That 4-year, 5-year deal?
You know what team I think gives him the bag? The Seattle Seahawks. I could easily see giving him that type of money. I could see Pete Carroll like foaming out the mouth that he gets like an elite pass rusher again.
But I mean, who do you think's the better team, the Cardinals or the Seahawks?
Oh, the Cardinals.
So if Chandler Jones doesn't make that next level difference on the Cardinals, I'm saying in terms of like Super Bowl, because that's what we expect out of the Cardinals. Absolutely. So I'm not saying that he doesn't make a playoff like difference, because he definitely does. Okay, but I'm saying in terms of Super Bowl, that Chandler Jones doesn't like put them over that.
And
so how would he do that for the Seahawks?
No, he's not. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that people should go out and sign Chandler Jones to a max deal because he's going to change your franchise, but that's exactly what a team is going to do.
Probably.
That's just my prediction. A team is going to ridiculously overpay for Chandler Jones, and I mean, just eyeballing it right here, the Seahawks could, the Jets could, the Bengals shouldn't, but they could. Yeah. The Jaguars, those teams could easily, wildly overpay.
And let's not forget, the numbers that we're looking at right now could all change. Absolutely. Because people are going to get released.
Absolutely.
Yeah, people are going to get cut, so that can free more people,
That's true. This is a big one to look at right here, too, the active cap.
Yeah.
For, what they're actively spending right now. I mean, if you're the Seahawks, you're really not, you're spending not that much, so, I mean, at that point, they're going to overpay.
The two teams that I have the Ravens and I have the Colts. Those are the two teams.
Yeah, the Ravens is a bad.
Yeah, so the Ravens, I think, they ever since Matthew Judon left, they kind of need that star pass rusher. Okay,
absolutely.
Adafe Owe, he is somebody who is producing, and he's somebody who had a surprisingly
Patrick Queen there.
Yeah, he had a surprisingly good year for a guy who had no sacks coming out of Penn State. He developed pretty well, and props to the Ravens for identifying his talent.
Yeah.
Okay. And then don't forget Calais Campbell, 36 years old, still producing, man. Yeah. He's amazing. Yeah. Calais Campbell is something else. Okay, so I think because the Baltimore Ravens are a very unique and good team in the sense of they can bring on veterans. Even if they're aging, I'm not saying Chandler Jones is aging, but you know what I mean. They can bring on veterans, and they can and they can develop rookies. So absolutely. They're a very well-run, well-coached organization. They're very versatile with the players that can fit in their scheme, and I think that would be a great signing for the Ravens. The Colts, the GM is saying, I'm sick of waiting. I want to spend my money, and I want to go on. The Colts are universally known as a team that kind of just develops, waits for their guys, sits back and waits for their young players to develop. Yeah, but the GM for the Colts is like, dude, we have the team. Yeah, let's spend a little bit.
They do. They have Jonathan Taylor. Keep in mind, they have Jonathan Taylor while he's cheap.
Yes.
They have a cheap Jonathan Taylor. They need to fix that quarterback position.
Sucks.
You got DeForest Buckner. Yeah, I mean, you've got a good team.
Leonard.
You got Darius Leonard.
You got Deo Odengbo and Kwity Paye.
Yeah, no, you got a great young team along with some guys who can be that veteran type present, and you have money. So now you need to. I agree. They need to spend that money because look, $35 million. Yeah, and they're up towards the top. One win away. I think that while that game was unfortunate, look, the Colts, well-coached team, very well-coached. I really like Frank Reich. I like what he did. I like the whole mindset. We're still in this year, even being, I believe, they're 1-3, 1-4 at one point. Mm-hmm. So I love the mentality that he has. And also I watched, Hard Knocks, and I love that show. Mm-hmm. But look, I would say if he's a bad coach, like I watched Hard Knocks and I said Mike McCarthy's a bad coach. So.
Yeah.
But I think he's a very, very good coach, and I think he relates with a lot of guys really well. I think this team can make a run. They're that one piece away, and I don't know how they go and get a quarterback.
I think
it's hard.
It's so strange, man. He, like you said, he could also be a Jameis Winston. And I really didn't think like they could also be a Jameis Winston fit. I didn't think of the Colts personally, but the more you say it, I do like that as well.
It makes a little bit of sense. Yeah, they got those deep threat guys. You got like T.Y. Hilton, who's
Michael Pittman, Jack
Pascal,
Doyle. I believe he retired. Jack Doyle. Did he?
Might have.
Yeah, but Mo Alley Cox is like a 6'9" tight end who can go up and grab the ball. Man, he's crazy good. Well, I mean, not crazy good, but I like Mo Alley Cox. His name is fun to say.
This is where Aaron Rodgers could go, in my opinion.
Maybe.
I would lose my mind if Aaron Rodgers went to this team. Like, I would fully lose
maybe they get Peyton out of retirement.
Maybe they get Tom. Who knows? Who knows?
Or Phillip Rivers to come back.
Oh my God, not Phillip Rivers.
Maybe Curtis Painter comes back.
Curtis Painter. At that point, have you know what?
Maybe Dan Orlovsky comes out of retirement.
At this point, have Elway suited up and let's see what our parents were actually talking about back in the day.
Seriously.
Let's see.
Johnny Unitas.
Yeah, Johnny Unitas. Rest in peace, Johnny Unitas.
Yes, sir.
He's one of the OGs.
He was. You wouldn't know. You don't like the old heads.
I know Johnny Unitas. I know John. Come on now. Come on.
Get out of here.
Come on.
Man revolutionized the position.
I know.
No, you don't.
He was like the first gunslinger, dude. Come on. I know Johnny Unitas.
Yes, sir, baby.
Hey, come on. Give me credit for that. Give me credit for that.
I'm just fucking with you.
I don't know my old guys, but the quarterbacks. If you haven't noticed, quarterback's my favorite position in football. I love to talk about it.
Who's Chuck Bednarik?
Okay, now you.
Yeah. There we go.
Let me guess. He played in the 30s.
1830s. Yes. I'm just joking.
I was like, what?
No. I'm just joking. So, Allen Robinson's the last guy. Will, what do you think?
I mean, I hate to sound like a broken record. We just talked about them. The Colts, though, could use some more receiver help. I think. The Washington Commanders, the Steelers, maybe because they don't want to pay Juju. It looks like so. You maybe could slip him in there. Did I say Seahawks?
No,
I forgot. Okay, so the Seahawks, maybe the Jets. I mean, that could be the Jets. Next big. Wasn't he already on the Jets though?
No, he was on the.
He was on a. Okay, I was gonna say he was on a garbage team.
Yeah, he was on the Jaguars.
So yeah, I mean that could be a good fit. I think wherever Allen Robinson goes, it's gonna be better than where he's at right now. He needs to get out.
I personally think that his talent is amazing.
Absolutely.
I do think Allen Robinson could be a perennial Pro Bowler. However, like he is kind of a situational guy in the sense that he does need that guy to throw to him because we've seen with Blake Bortles, obviously he actually got the best out of Blake Bortles in my opinion. And let's give him credit for that. Okay, like he made Blake Bortles like halfway decent. Okay, he did.
He really did.
He did. Yeah. And then Andy Dalton, like he was a good, nice veteran target for Andy Dalton. And then Justin Fields, his play style wasn't good for a Justin Fields level quarterback.
It wasn't, no. Especially a developing Justin Fields.
In my opinion,
with no O-line.
In my opinion, if you're not gonna go to the Commanders, because I agree with you on that one, like match up with Scary Terry, and I think that
could be really good,
if Terry is the number one, well he will be. Terry's the number one, and you don't get as much attention. You be that jump ball guy. I think Washington's offense can be pretty good because as weird as it is, Washington doesn't have a lot of needs. They really have a good defense.
They got solid.
Yeah, they're a solid team. Just for some reason, they haven't been able to string it together.
I think they're a young quarterback away from, being a really good team.
We'll see.
And I think Heineke's good now. But
I like Heineke.
I like Heineke too.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe it's hard because I will say if Deshaun Watson ends up coming back and the Texans look to move Davis Mills, it's in the realm of possibility.
I hope not.
Probably not.
I like Davis Mills.
I love Davis Mills too, but I would love to see Davis Mills maybe go to this Washington team and sit behind, I guess you consider Heineke a veteran at this point. I don't know. He's for sure not a talented young guy.
Davis Mills proved he deserves to be a starter.
He does, yeah, absolutely.
So he doesn't. I don't think he should sit behind anyone.
Sure.
But in my opinion, you may think I'm crazy for this. I think he should go back to Jacksonville. I do. I think he should be that security blanket for Trevor Lawrence.
Maybe.
Because, Marvin Jones, a well-respected veteran receiver, by no means is he meant to be, that number one security. That's just not who Marvin Jones is, and not a knock. That's just not his role. I think that Allen Robinson in Jacksonville, kind of being, like I said, that Trevor Lawrence security blanket, I like that.
Yeah,
I do. And then
I don't think it'll happen, but I agree.
And then Marvin Jones kind of goes back to his role, which is that good, solid number 2 guy.
Yeah.
Then you have 2 veterans who really are in their roles.
They said they still want to work with Chenault, so...
Laviska Shenault has some upside, too. I like Laviska Shenault. Okay, like, I think he has some promise. I really and truly do think he should go back to Jacksonville.
I would like it. I think it's super unlikely, but I like it. I'll say that.
Yeah, so, I mean...
I'm down for it.
How you feeling? Good?
Yeah, no, this was great.
I like this episode.
Yeah, this was good. So I can't wait to talk about Devontae next time. I get some wild Devontae theories.
Yeah, and you know, it is cool. I do like how we're trying like the part 1 and part 2.
Yeah,
I like that.
There's so much to talk about. Like we talked about what, like 6
We
guys,
talked about
8?
7 people.
Yeah, we talked about 7
people. We spent an hour talking about 7
people.
people.
And this is a massive free agency class. So,
I know.
Yeah, we'll see. We still got Aaron Rodgers. Oh my god. We still got it all.
And this was an interesting conversation.
Oh, this is great. Yeah. So I mean, before we kind of wrap it up here, I guess thank you to everyone who's been supporting us. This spring break, I will be updating the Spotify. I have been super busy. I am sorry about that they're not on Spotify.
Inconsiderate.
Inconsiderate. No, I do apologize. I'll try and get that done this spring break. I have an internship going on right now. Not to make, a list of excuses for myself, but, I got some stuff going on. But thank you for all the support we've been getting on social media. Follow us at Conti and Nick, Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff. TikTok, which, I'm hopefully going to start pumping out some more content as we kind of go into the summer and I get done with midterms and stuff like that. But it's a very special day, and it's a very, it was a good episode. It was. You know what would have made it just a little bit better if he was here on his special day?
On his birthday, nonetheless.
His birthday.
Who is it? Who is it that I'm thinking of? Happy birthday, John Bro!
Peace, ladies and gentlemen.